mean?
It's misleading. I want to add on to what you're saying about not accepting money. Hey guys, accept money. I'm kidding. Accept money that you've earned. I wanted to say, once you found a mentor who happens to make money, learn how to pay yourself.
This is the Hustler's Corner.
Monday, another beautiful start of the week. Hustlers and squatters, brothers and sisters, straight up to that shop sign. Let's click that like button on the count of 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Click, 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 click. Thank you. Let's click the subscription button so the family gets to grow. Click. Now, the percentage of you guys clicking that notification bell is still sitting at only 10%. We want that percentage to increase so you guys know when we're dropping brand new videos. So please switch on that notification bell. Ngathi ipele eyaseskele. Yakubula nesese intwana.
Keke ubani wayidlala kizo yizo. Keke. Kokubani konje lamachita kizo yizo.
I think it was
Jeez.
What is his
Kwakubobo
name?
and someone.
I think, yeah. I can't even jive with it.
No, Kwaku Chavas actually. I remember Kwaku Chavas.
How you doing, bro?
I'm right, Spuda. How are you?
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to yourself. Happy Monday to all the hustlers. Happy Monday to all the squatters. The virtual Mkhukhu is growing. I think we've started monetizing the channel. So I'm very excited about us growing our little baby. And hopefully the Hustlers Corner as our parents is going to be proud of us very soon with the content we're going to be creating.
Definitely. Guys, go to the virtual Mkhukhu. There's a link in the description. Click and subscribe on the actual virtual Mkhukhu channel. You remember, guys, I told you literally exactly 7 days ago. I told you that Penuel is nice, clean shaven. And I did say it's going to take about a week for his hair to grow. Look at him now. I shot a cheese scope literally last week.
I'm fertile.
True.
Oh, Sisi must know I'm fertile. Your kids will get good hair.
Your hair grows quick, bro.
No, thank you. Look, I've got Indian blood in my family. My mother's father, Indian Muslim man, Chota Hussein Amin. And I think because of, if you look at my legs, from the Indian aspect of my family.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Let's go right straight into it. The first one, I just see headlines in it takes on a car, a newspaper. Penuel the Black Pen joins Afriforum.
Stop it.
Is that true? Did you really join Afriforum?
So I was training last week. And I don't trend because I'm not a big brand. And the one thing I'm always big on is self-awareness, knowing where you fit in the world out there. Ever since I've started working with you, my brand has been exposed to everyone who's a fan of you. So that's what we call brand leverage. You know, if I'm seen with the MOFAYA can, when they see MOFAYA, they see me. When they see me, they see so. I appreciate that. But I think I'm a very small brand. We've done a lot of good work, and I've been quite appreciative of that. And then I was invited on Mag's show, Podcast and Chill. And then I trended then, but that happens automatically because every guest that goes to Podcast and Chill, because they have such a huge reach, you basically trend because of whatever you were discussing. So I can't say that was me being cool or whatever. I give props to Podcast and Chill. I haven't trended before, but I've had a lot of retweets when I'm seen with like, oh, Ngamla, when there's some controversial sound bites that we have, etc. But I think for the first time I was trending myself, and it wasn't for anything great, sadly. I was being bashed by a lot of black South Africans because, yes, I've made a video. I've officially joined Afriforum as a paying member.
Are you serious, bro?
Yes. So that's like
you joined Afriforum.
So that's like the Hustlers joining the Hustlers Corner podcast as a paying member.
Paying members.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should say congratulations or I don't know.
No.
What does that mean? Why did you join?
Please do not say congratulations. Please feel free to share your thoughts. Everyone is entitled. And maybe we can speak about it.
Let's speak about it.
We've had one of the leaders of Afriforum here, Ernst Roots.
Yeah.
We interviewed him. I was having a groupie moment and everyone was like, you're kissing ass. And I'm like, look, I'm a fan of their work. And I think in that sit down, you are asking more of the hard-hitting questions, you know, about the flack that they get from black South Africans, about the legacies of apartheid, what their thoughts are, especially because they were fighting for not legalizing, but allowing people to display the apartheid flag, you know, the old South African flag. I'm a non-racialist, which doesn't really mean anything to anyone. It almost sounds like you are sellout as Utaki. As soon as you say non-racialist, you're speaking Nelson Mandela, speaking Rainbow Nation, ANC, Babalona. usefuna ukusidayisa ke. I don't have a black constituency to sell. I am not a political leader. I can't say I have a group of 50,000 black people that at any given time, because of my church, I'm going to promote your brand. I'm going to tell them to vote for your party. So I don't have a constituency to sell. What I'm passionate about and that we've spoken about on this platform is working with people that are progressive. Nhlanhla Lux being one in Soweto. We spoke to Tutuzane Zuma. They're doing a lot of cleaning initiatives and doing work on the ground, basic services in Durban. We haven't had him, but I'm hoping he'll join us at some point to Gaten McKenzie. The work that he's doing in the Central Karoo as the mayor, and other people that are doing good work. Of course, we've had entrepreneurs, Abo Theo, Abo Likau, that are doing amazing work and inspiring people. So in looking for different people to support, Afriforum was one of them. I've had a lot of reservations myself, like every other Taki. You know, these people, Bamelo, Amapun, you know, they stand for white Afrikaners. And you look at some of the work they're doing and some of the cases they take, and it's almost like, no, man, this is just white Afrikaans people fighting to almost go back to apartheid. And you look at the cases they've taken up, you look at the defense of the flag. I think there were 2 farm owners that at some point I think were accused of killing a black child. They decided to defend that person. So when someone like myself goes and says, I'm joining Afriforum, people get angry. You are sellouts, and I'm not that person. I'm a critical thinker, I'm objective. I do understand that part of the money I'm going to be giving might be going to causes I don't support. In the same way that some of the tax we are forced to pay. We don't freely give tax, we are forced to pay tax. Some of it goes to corruption. Some of it goes to initiatives that we may not support as people. But when I look at some of the other work Afriforum is doing, all I'm contributing is 100 Rand. It's a lot to people in South Africa who don't have money. But to me, if I see where some of that money is going, I'm happy. They decided to take on the case of Usenzo Meyiwa, the murder of Usenzo Meyiwa. And I am not aware, I stand to be corrected, I'm not aware if Orlando Pirates contributed any money to the legal fees. I'm not aware if Isafa and Bafana contributed. I'm not aware if Orlando Pirates fans decided to set up a fund for the trial and for the Meyiwa family. So if my 100 Rand per month is going to go to fighting for cases like that, I'm happy to contribute. If I look at our borders, which are almost non-existent, and where people from some of our neighboring countries come in illegally so, of which we're not allowed to come into their countries illegally so, our government has failed, our immigration has failed, and the Afriforum has taken it upon themselves to patrol those areas. Granted, I'm fully aware that one of the major reasons they're patrolling is because there's a lot of white Afrikaans farmers with land there. But some of those people that go through those white Afrikaans farms, they come into this country and they commit crimes and they do things and they can't be tracked. So for the fact that they're saying we will patrol, they might be doing it for selfish interests, but it affects us as well. I'm happy to contribute to that. There's a royal clan in the Free State, I think they call the Barolong, and there's work that one of the Afriforum leaders, Parent Ace, has done. These people were snubbed by the Free State government, Ace Mkhukhu, by the ANC. They were saying we are a legitimate royal family, you know, and there were issues because the head of the family was a woman. There were issues because one of the children was actually an adopted child, but they were still recognized as a child of the family. So they went and they took on that case and they fought, and this royal family has now been legitimized, you know, as a royal family. And that's just examples I'm giving. They fill out potholes, of course, mostly in suburbs that mostly have white people. I'm aware of that. They cut grass. They're doing services where our government is failing. Should there be, and I'm hoping this will be inspiring not just to Afriforum, but to trade unions. Because a lot of people don't know, Afriforum with its 300,000 members, or paying members, they were born of a trade union called Solidarity. If you look at some of our big trade unions, SATU, NUMSA, INUM, etc., I don't know why they are not building their own Afriforum types, which are maybe for black Africans, which I don't think is allowed constitutionally, but they are for the poor, they are for the masses, or however you want to frame it. Because the Afriforum hides behind, they stand for Afrikaans people and the minorities, which we know is mostly white people. But if you identify with Afrikaans culture, if you identify with the work they're doing, they're happy to welcome you. I don't know why they can't set up things like that so that people like myself can join. If Nhlanhla Lux wakes up tomorrow morning and says, guys, Soweto Parliament If you guys want to contribute, here's the membership forms, join. And I know Imaliam goes to the patrolling that they do in Soweto. And I know that with the Olympics that they're going to be hosting in October, my money's going there. They're building infrastructure. If I hear Gaten McKenzie saying, here's a fund to remove the bucket system in the Karoo, I'll contribute. We contribute to Gift of the Givers. Some people have contributed to the Mutsipe Foundation. Cyril Ramaphosa has got the Shanduga Foundation or the Cyril Ramaphosa Foundation, which has a doctor school. The Jacob Zuma Foundation as well exists. There are all these spaces where we can contribute to people that are doing work that we appreciate and applaud. And it's up to them. Years ago, I set up the Buy Black movement. It's still around. The NPO is still alive. If you go to I don't even know it's www, but buyblack.org.za.
Buyblack.org.za.
You can see Ubusobam there, my ugly face there on the landing page.
Buyblack.org.za. Let's see if it's vuleging. Yo, qala ngami
baba. Hey, uthi nang lo mjidi we-Afriforum lana evele ebusweni.
And it's got that black power fist.
100%.
And it's in black and white. It's
100%.
saying Buy Black.
100%.
And then a few years later, this man is joining Afriforum.
Yes. So we set up the Buy Black movement because we were trying to mimic groups like Afriforum and other progressive groups.
Amazing. Sorry to disturb. Workforce. Create a team that fights for black business at all levels of society and government. Buy Black. Get black and other people to buy from black businesses and work for black businesses. Investment. Invest money into black retailers, black farmers, black professionals, and black schools. The plan. Investment. Get black business owners to commit at least 100 rands a month. This money will go to running the campaign, investing in black businesses, and creating Buy Black merchandise. Access. Create and engage on all platforms to market our black businesses and our initiatives. This includes a website, TV, radio, newspaper, magazine, and social media platforms. Social media. Active Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube channels to load relevant information and nurture discussions. Activities. Regular events around South Africa to mobilize black minds and black money. Currently, members 50, business supported 100, funds raised in South African rands 25,000, visitors about 150. This is an incredible movement, brother. Why did you leave this?
So
this is an awesome idea even.
So we touched on this in one of the episodes that we had before with the virtual Mkhukhu, where you were asking me why I stopped my fight for black people and the black masses. And I tried to give a history of where I came from with my pro-blackness and my pan-Africanism and my black consciousness.
And guys, they also even explain, they say, what is the 100 rands per month for? There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 reasons that you guys have stated on your website where the 100 rands goes to.
Yeah.
Incredible movement, man. Yeah,
Thank
continue.
you. No, thank you. But I've left. I think I left 2 years ago.
Yeah.
When we spoke about it, and maybe I'll have to speak about it more regularly. My move from blackness to non-racialism, and the realization that abantu abamnyama are not homogenous. What that means is that we are not one thing. We are very different, and there are different black people with different agendas. And there would be black people that I would meet with that platform who had their own agendas. It's fun to push a lento, but you realize these people are trying to use black people to make money, to enrich themselves. When you try and dig deeper into their supplier base, you realize, no, man, these guys are fronts. Or all this money that they're getting from black businesses are actually going back to other races. So I was like, no, this doesn't make sense at the time. But in that time, I also realized that, look, if you look at my own life and the people that have contributed, a lot of them have been non-black people. So I just decided, and it was myself, not speaking for other people. The leaders of the Buy Black movements are still there. We never fought. I explained to them time and time again why I had to leave. But I said at any given time, I'm happy to support. I'm happy to be a paying member, because if they're doing good work, because this is in line with the BEE codes. Because again, you can't say black because it's unconstitutional. But if you say black in the context of BEE and uplifting the previously disadvantaged, because if you go to the FAQs, one of the questions is, are non-black people or non-black African people allowed? And the answer is yes, according to the codes and the constitution. If you understand black consciousness and this thing of uplifting black people, I wanted, to be honest, with the Buy Black movement, I wanted white people, Indians, Chinese to jump in and to say, we support you guys, because If I am funding a black business, it means I'm taking a criminal off the street. If I'm employing black workers, it means I'm taking a child away from taking drugs. Yeah, because some of the problems that non-black people have are because black people don't have businesses, don't have jobs. And if they can understand that if we support blackish initiatives, we can eradicate crime, we can eradicate poverty, and they can also lower their tax base. They'll pay less tax because black people can now feed themselves. So I wanted to get into that mindset. And look, some of the comments I read were saying things like, yeah, Pen is going to Afriforum to infiltrate from the inside. The reality is I'm not, but I am hoping to learn a lot from how their structures are run. Not to build my own thing, but with the hope that the Afriforum in itself, and I'm a nobody, again. I'm not joining as a leader of Afriforum. I'm not donating a lot of money. I went to visit them 2 weeks ago at their head office. I was hosted by an amazing young man called Ernst van Sale. He gave me a tour. I asked him a lot of the fire questions that you'd normally ask about black people and racism and apartheid, even about white Afrikaans people who don't like Afriforum, who say Afriforum is too liberal. Why does it welcome people that are not white, who are racist, who are whatever? I'm hoping that myself and any other non-white people that are going to join Afriforum can convince an Afriforum to allow us to extend our reach, if you get what I'm saying. Because once you join a space, once you join a company, what's a good apartheid company? Whatever apartheid company was out there, mine, a farm, whatever, you get in there as a black board member, as a black employee, as a black manager. And once you're there, you're like, can we take some of this money and put it to these initiatives that could help the people? Can we take some of this money and fight these cases? It wasn't me, but they already started saying, look, let's fight some of the black cases. Let's go to some of these spaces. If they are filling potholes in suburbia, is it possible for them to maybe fill potholes in Ekasi? Or if not, are they willing to? And I've heard one of the, I don't know who it was, years back, when they built their university or their tertiary institution, Soltech, which is an Afrikaans skills, focuses on skills and not so much theory, skills institution. And they were asked, why is it not English? And they're like, English is just a language. Black people are comfortable to go to institutions that are English, but they have an issue with an Afrikaans one. It's just a language. Why is our language inferior? And they said, but what if black people wanted to build their own Zulu university? And these guys said, if they'd want to, we're very happy to help them. So if people want to find their identity and they want to turn the Zulu kingdom into a Zulu forum and create a fund and build Ongoya, the University of Zululand, into a Zulu speaking for Zulu people, whether you're white, black, but if you identify as Zulu, if you love the Zulu language, then why not? So I'm hoping to learn. I'm a student of life. I love the work they're doing. And if at any point, because you can leave at any time, if at any point I feel they are racist, I feel they're being oppressive, they're doing work that doesn't align with my beliefs, I will gladly leave. If I join a BLF, and they're going around stealing land or they're killing people or whatever, I will gladly leave. But if I can see Andile, for example, and this was one of the things I wanted to debate him on, I wanted to ask, why is BLF not setting up an NPO where people can send money? And you guys can go and maybe even partner with Ekasi, Noble Properties, and say as BLF would like to be involved because this is allowing our people to buy land and to make rental income. Can we partner with other people that have land? Can we build our own Sandton? Can we build our own Sun City? Can we build our own farms? I would gladly join an initiative like that. But it seems like a lot of people are too obsessed with politics and complaining and whining. And the people that are willing to put in work, I'll join them. You can be white, you can be black, you can be colored, you can be Indian. In South Africa, if someone says, look at Gift of the Givers, which was actually started by Indian Muslims, and it's run by Imtiaz Suleiman. You know, they're doing amazing work. So am I going to say I'm not an Indian, I'm not Muslim, why am I joining these people? But look at the work they did with the flood relief. Look at the work they've done in the Eastern Cape when people don't have water. So for me, I'm about finding good people that are doing good work. And I no longer want to be imprisoned by race because I realize there are bad black people just as there are bad white people. And there are good white people just as there are good black people as well.
Shout outs for you being a paying member of the Hustlers Corner.
Yeah.
And contributing every month. And I just wanted to ask the question, are there other organizations that you contribute to apart from Afriforum? Civil organizations or let me say organizations that do work for towards black people?
So Afriforum is the first NPO that I've signed up a debit order to. Others I would give ad hoc. look at the banking details, tumeli imali, ufake reference, because you know it's doing good work. The other organization that I religiously put money in is my own. I've got my own NPO, the Mamsi Foundation, which I named after my mother. For the past maybe 10 to 15 years, we've been running soup kitchens. We've been collecting secondhand clothes, shoes, donating. We've been collecting stationery and books. And kona ama crash, Ekasi in colored areas that normally don't have stationery and toys and those things. So we take some of those things and we go and we donate them there. In my own capacity, back in the day, I'd pay my school fees for certain kids at Ekasi. We've done school shoes. We've done blanket drives for the homeless, etc. But Afriforum is the first organization I'm signing a debit order to. But about gift of the giver, some of these other guys, you donate as and when. If you hear they're going to do work in Durban, we are tumela to their bank accounts that are there available.
Very interesting. It reminds me of the KanYe saga over the past week or two, when he was wearing the White Lives Matter T-shirt, and he raises the point that I'm not trapped like everybody else. I'm a free thinker, and I've got my own choices to make. And I feel the Black Lives Matter movement was infiltrated, and I cannot believe that it was a scam. You know, those were his. Those are some of the things that KanYe said.
Yeah.
Whether you agree with him or you don't disagree with him, I also kind of feel I don't like people that run with their mob mentality.
Yes.
And since the growth of social media over the past couple of years, I've seen more and more of that.
Yeah.
And I've also seen people who have been lately programmed to easily dismiss people that they do not agree with, instead of, as much as you don't agree with them, but still be willing to listen.
Yeah.
Or be willing to learn from what they have to offer.
Yeah.
You don't have to agree with them, but just be that person who's open enough to want to listen and listen to understand. Not because mainstream media, because mob mentality says Ubanbana Simtandi, Ubanbana is cancelled,
Yeah.
and you're just so dismissive over them.
Yeah.
And I've also seen that on our platform as well. We've had some guests where people are mad at us, they're right, including even the Afriforum interview,
Sure.
where people say, why are you guys having such and such a person? You guys are sellout,
I'm
etc.
unsubscribing.
Yeah, you know.
The
one time we had Mr. Panyaza Lisufi.
Yeah.
Why are you guys having these ANC guys, blah, blah, blah? I'm unsubscribing. Do you know what I mean? And I kind of feel, why don't you get excited that finally you're going to get a chance at least to listen to this person for an hour,
Yeah.
you know, at least,
Yeah.
and listen to what they have to offer, what they have to say. Maybe what you've been fed about these type of people has been the narrative, or has been the propaganda by mainstream media.
Yeah.
With that being said, I just want to say that I love you still. That came out wrong. I love you
No,
still.
you said it correctly.
I love you still, and I kind of respect people who've got their own choices.
Yeah.
Who don't go according to Ibandla Liti.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So that is your choice.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to hearing more from you. I don't know, maybe a year from now, based on the experiences that you're going to, go through or learn from Afriforum, maybe it's things that you're going to share with us. Maybe some of us
Definitely.
a year later, we might be, making the same decisions. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think let's allow people to be themselves. Let's allow people to make their own choices, and let us not go with the mob mentality of just dismissing people and just being rude to people without giving them an ear and understanding their reasons also.
Thinking seems to be one of the most difficult acts in the world. I've come to realize thinking is very hard for people. It seems it's easier for other people to think for you and then tell you what to do. And that's why we've got a population that is largely childlike. They have to be told by the ANC, they have to be told by their church, they have to be told by their favorite celebrity what to do. And if their commander-in-chief, if their favorite influencer is saying do this, they do it. If they say, I don't like that person, then mob, cancel culture, don't like. We appreciate Elon Musk because, and I saw in one of our previous people like, Akpeli episode, you didn't mention Elon Musk and KanYe West. We like Elon Musk because he's alternative and he's an alternative thinker and he's living his life differently. We don't know billionaires to do the things that he does and to say the things that he does and to challenge the establishment. KanYe West, same, and critical thinkers understand why KanYe says things like slavery was a choice. It's not because KanYe is saying slavery was fun, it was good. It's because he's saying, let's take a moment and think about at which point do you stop being dependent on someone else to decide for you and you take ownership of your life? For how long do you vote for a certain political party, even if the country is in darkness, even if you don't have water, even if the leaders of that political party seem to have gotten their own reparations because they're rich, but at the expense of the masses? For how long will you vote for them? And at which point are you going to say, I think this was a choice? Because that same government back in the day realized this apartheid thing seems to be a choice and we don't want to choose it anymore. And we're willing to fight. So he's just challenging that thinking. Black Lives Matter was a really good movement. It was inspired by the death of George Floyd. All of us know, with the knee on the neck, screaming for his mom, saying, I can't breathe.
It had been there before that incident.
It was before that?
Yeah, it was there before that incident.
I take that back. I think I heard of it after George Floyd.
Yeah, and it has been largely funded by the Open Society Foundation, which is obviously led by or owned by George Soros.
Can you please speak about that?
No, sorry, continue.
No, because there are people that may not know why you're mentioning something like that.
Well, Mr. George Soros
is.
Mr. George Soros is a billionaire who's got an interesting history.
A white billionaire.
Yeah, he's a white billionaire. He escaped. I think go read up on the history. I don't want to spend too much time on George Soros, but just go find out who George Soros is and some of the things that he's funded. It's not only Open Society Foundation that he funds, and a lot of people all over the world, even on the internet, they're always in opposing sides with a lot of the things or decisions that George Soros would take.
Yeah.
And apart from George Soros, because George Soros ungumlungu and has been funding Black Lives Matter, that's why a lot of people have been saying it's a scam.
Yeah.
If it's a movement for black people, by black people, why is it funded by Abelungu? And as you and I would know, whoever pays the bills calls the shots.
Yeah.
I guess that's where a lot of people started saying, nah, man. And then there's obviously stories after the George Floyd saga happened. Some of the founding members of the Black Lives Matter movement, they were buying expensive mansions worth about $4-5 million US. They were buying expensive cars, etc. And a lot of people kind of felt clearly that was the money that was also contributed for or donated by the people. I guess that's why then a lot of people started saying it's a scam.
No, definitely. George Soros gets a lot of press, similar to a Bill Gates, for people that have never heard of him. He's seen as an evil man. He's seen to have strong agendas. So if George Soros joins your foundation, funds you, a lot of people who don't like him immediately. If people were to hear that the Hustlers Corner is being funded by Bill Gates, they'd get angry. If they heard that Nikki Oppenheimer's actually become a friend of the podcast, people would get angry because they've got their agendas. Again, it's not because they're thinking. It's because someone has told them that that person is a bad person. And Candace Owens, a young black female Republican, I think has done a documentary or an expose on Black Lives Matter and her issues with it. So KanYe, I believe, was speaking to that at Paris Fashion Week when he wore a t-shirt saying White Lives Matter. It's not to say KanYe believes white people matter and black people don't. This was the same person who got on a platform and said George Bush is a racist or George Bush hates black people. You know what I mean? So he's constantly...
He didn't say hate, he says doesn't care about
black people. Sorry. So this is a person that's getting us to think, to be like, who's right, who's wrong? Who are you following, who are you not following? What are their agendas? So that you can have your own mind, so that you can decide for yourself. KanYe goes and he makes clothing that looks alternative. He goes and he grows in Chebe. He goes and he wears funny masks. He goes and he buys land and he creates an off-grid space where they're growing their own food. He's building his own church. So this is a guy that's always wanted us to think, primarily because he himself is also on his own journey of discovery. A lot of us don't have the answers and we don't pretend to know the answers, but we do say, I'm not sure, so I'm trying this out. I will join Afriforum. I've got my own hesitations. I'm not sure. They are not funding me to speak about them. I'm speaking about them because I think it's an interesting conversation. Because if we are going to say Afriforum is bad, who is good and why? Is the ANC good? Why? Are we contributing to the ANC? Maybe you love the ANC. Are you sending 100 Rand to the ANC? You love the EFF. Are you sending 100 Rand to the EFF? How Andile Mngxitama is fighting for the people. Are you sending money to Andile? Are you just making noise? And why? And then let's look deeper. So thinking is something that we need to exercise. It's tough. It's very tough. And the more we think, the more we'll be able to ascertain good versus bad people. And be able to look beyond race, because part of why the apartheid government was bad, because almost all of us agree that it was bad, was because they used race as a starting point, a departure point for how they treat people. So if we're going to use race as a departure point, we are doing what they did. We must only use race insofar as fixing what they did wrong. So if they use race to take what is yours, we will say they took his thing because he was black. So because he's black, he must get it back. But then after that, we can't be like, nah, but black, because then we're doing what they did. And if we're saying what they did was wrong, then what we're doing is wrong.
But you're saying after that. When do you know when is after that?
That's the conversation. That's the thinking. So something like a sunset clause from Codesa, something like previously disadvantaged. Is Patrice Motsepe previously disadvantaged because he's black? Or what's the measure? If you have R1 million, if you have R1 billion, at which point when I'm applying for a tender and they're asking if I'm a black African, at which point am I still a black African that is previously disadvantaged? We need to have those conversations, because as long as we don't, I can tell you now, the white elite who benefited from apartheid and colonization, they will find they are picked blacks, what I'm being accused of. They will find they are token blacks that understand, use them as fronts and say, you will be my chosen black. You are now a billionaire and everyone's clapping hands. Hey, we've got Obanbani black entrepreneurs. And then you will go and do those things that we can't do anymore. But we'll be sitting at the back as your friend because you understand what the agenda is. And the agenda is, let's keep wealth in a minority. The fact that the minority now has got a different shade, the ideology and the thinking is still exactly the same. Let's oppress and exploit the masses because they are not thinkers. And because they see your face, because they see that no, ugogo might be the worst thing you've ever seen. She might commit greater atrocities than the apartheid government, but because when you're so easily hoodwinked with the face, you get lost because you're scared to think. And that's why I keep saying, look, I'm aware. I'm fully aware that there are people out there who exploit, who have their agendas, who what, but I look more to the work.
Okay.
Are you doing the work?
Moving forward, but by the way, quickly, let me just mention, I think I also found out a bit later, Guti, by the way, the Patrice's father, or the home that he comes from, was also a business-oriented type of a family.
Yeah.
So his father was already a businessman.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that his father passed on his wealth to Patrice, but I am definitely sure that the type of person that he became as a businessman, some sort of ways was ignited by the parents being business people themselves.
Sure.
So I guess that's the reason why we always encourage us having to pass on what we're doing to our children and having a different mindset to say, instead of just leaving a house and a car that have got a debt to the bank for our kids, why don't we start businesses so that at least we give them some sort of a leg up? You might just be that parent who's gonna, who knows, become a potential parent to a future Patrice Motsepe, to a future Mam Judith Lamini, to a future Mam, you know what I mean? So,
can I ask you a sneaky question?
Yeah, go right ahead.
It's a malicious question. It's loaded, so I'm warning you in advance.
Okay.
What's the difference between Patrice Motsepe having Ubabwako Augustine, who had businesses, and then how his father was friends with the families that ended up working with Patrice, the Manels and the Hersofts families, to him using BEE to then advance his mining interests? What's the difference between him and a Christo Visa, whose father also had businesses? And because of being a white person during apartheid, he got to build ShopRite and Pep. And the difference between Aliko Dangote, whose uncle was a big businessman, and when he needed money, he also got money from them. And because his father was a politician, his family was involved in politics. And because of that, it was almost easier for him to get into the business world. But all three of these guys, Patrice, Dangote, Motsepe, have all worked hard. They've all put in the work. Every single day they have to wake up, they have to deal with investors, they have to deal with whatever. But they come from families that were already working and hustling. And then they use the advantages of the day to succeed.
The difference is race. The Oppenheimers and what is the other family that you mentioned? The white family? Wealthy family?
Rupert.
Not the Motsepe family.
Hersof Manel.
Okay, start again. What's the difference between which family and which family?
Christo Visa.
Yeah, Christo Visa.
Yeah.
It's race.
Okay.
The difference is race. As much as Patrice and them would pass on the knowledge to their kids and they are growing up around this business, they are like, as much as Landlini, we're also business people, but Oksala, we are black.
Sure.
And there's just a lot of laws that are against us that are also oppressing us as much as we are maybe thriving in business. You know, so for me, I kind of feel abantu abamnyama, that's one thing that we have to be very serious on building our businesses. And I've been saying this maybe for the past 10 years now. You know, black family, starting our own side hustles, building our own businesses, building our own brands, being independent, passing that knowledge on to our kids, not waiting for them to even be older, starting right now while they're still 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14, 16. The time to start is now.
And that's why we love you, because you preach, you practice what you preach. You're telling people to do for self and to keep moving.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I love you guys too. Thank you so much. I got a booking
Hey,
in New York. In New York, finally.
What?
Finally, I'm gonna be out of the country. Oh, after so long. Bro.
Jeez, congrats.
Thank you, man.
Well, you are out of the country. You were in Zim, but
yeah, Zim, you know, it's here. It's home.
It's home.
Zim is
I
home.
hear you.
But basically saying I haven't traveled since COVID-19 lockdown started.
That's crazy.
Last time I traveled was 2019. And as I've been saying to you, I've been feeling like a Bene Plus all along. And finally, I got a booking to play at a place called Superior Ingredients, which is a club, amazing, beautiful club in Brooklyn, New York. For those who don't know, who haven't been to Brooklyn in quite some time, there's a lot of gentrification that has taken place, and Brooklyn is not what it used to be. Brooklyn has now developed. You know, it's something different. It's beautiful. And let me say also, gentrification is still going to happen to a lot of places, even here, Ekasi.
Yeah.
So if you're a smart property owner or property investor or somebody who's in real estate, if you're smart, the job is to do a bit of a research and see a town that is potentially is going to be gentrified and start buying property around that area, because the value in a couple of years or in 5 or in 10 years time will be, you know, you'll be speaking a different story.
Fact.
But what makes me excited when Penuel is, I was hosting a radio show on Metro FM called The Sound Revival. And I started speaking to these young guys who were like, I don't like calling people up and coming, but you know, they were young DJs getting into the industry. They were twins. And shout outs to Steven Zinkwana, who gave the Major League twins gigs like crazy. I mean, at every gig that Steve Ovo would do, he made sure the Major League twins were there. And at the time, they were still coming up. No, not a lot of people knew them, you know. But I was very blessed to have the guys to be a part of my radio show. They used to do hip hop mixes on my show, you know, and we would speak, and I wouldn't, I don't want to say I mentored the guys or whatever. No, it was like this. Sure. Like, we had a relationship where they're always on my show mixing, and fast forward right now, I'm going to be opening for them in New York. And the boys are global, you know? And I'm like, wow.
That's beautiful.
And I'm saying this intentionally for all of you young guys out there, not only people who want to be DJs or musicians, that at one point, you can't just be that young person whom you feel you are struggling, things are tough, you're trying to get a leg up, you're trying to get opportunities here and there. Sometimes you might end up feeling like nobody valelas you. There isn't like some long door where you are valelo outside. You have to make your own moves, just like the Major League DJs have. And I hope what I've just said now inspires you to say, fast forward a few years later, the guys are global stars now.
Yeah.
The guys are not only just playing in New York, I mean, they're in Europe, they're in the US, they're in the UK, and it makes me so happy to see. I literally saw their growth from nothing to where they were, to where they are now. And this is only still the beginning. It's exactly what I was saying to you even last week, and saying, I hope you are aware how big and how successful you're about to become. Not even in the next 10 years, just now within the next 5. By 2025, you'll be in a different position.
Thank you, Prophet Sbusiso.
It's beautiful to see.
Oh God, it's Major League.
Oh God, it's Major League. So Superior Ingredients, New York City, next week Saturday, 22nd. And then the following week on the 29th, I'm playing in Detroit. I'm not
Jeez, Boo, you share footy.
No, I'm in Shiyi, man.
Your Vagasha. Please come back with the knowledge and skills and networks.
Your Vagasha. And you never know.
Please.
Because sometimes you go to one gig, you kick ass.
Yeah.
And then you get work for elsewhere, and that's how this thing works.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe this is my entry into the global world. Maybe I'm gonna be following in the footsteps of Major League and Black Coffee. You don't know.
Yeah, no.
We never know. You know.
Wishing you nothing but the best. You don't even need a pep talk or motivation. You know, more than anything, I hope you'll have fun with the gents. I had a couple of things to say. Let me go back. Gentrification's got a negative connotation for people that don't know, because normally when a run-down place gets cleaned up, normally the rent increases, and it normally chases away the people that were staying at the time because they can no longer afford it. That's why a lot of people don't like gentrification. But the problem is some of those places, if you look at Hillbrow today, Yeovil today, those were upmarket places back in the day. They've become run down now. So they will be gentrified. Maboneng, for example, Ngase Cheppies Town, it's been cleaned up. Yes, it becomes expensive, but it also creates an opportunity for people that are business-minded, that want a cleaner space, a safer space. So thank you for that. The second thing I wanted to say is you've always had it in you to put people on, and I hope you never tire. I know you get dragged a lot. We've spoken about it various times. I hope out of the 5 times you dragged, the 5,500 other people that thank you, that give a shout out, I hope they make up for the 5 that are the bad press, and that are the ones that, what you were saying about mob mentality, are the ones that people always raise. Yeah, but what about Uban? And it's like, but you realize there's another 100 people that is done so much for. So thank you so much for putting people on. How does it feel? And this is not for you, this is for Amakrotman that are out there who don't have the same mentality as you. How does it feel putting up and coming guys on and then watching them, at least in the DJing space, becoming so big and then almost putting you on?
Yeah, even bigger than you.
Because a lot of Amakrotman, they struggle with that, and it becomes one of the reasons why they close the doors. They're scared of you coming to outshine them. How does that feel?
I totally get you. And by the way, let me mention, this is very important.
Yeah.
The promoter said to me, I actually am going to ask the Major League DJs if they approve off of you now, before we even book you. I'm telling you, that's what happened.
That's cute.
So let me also mention that you're exactly correct. Now they're putting me on.
Yeah.
Because the promoter came back to me and said,
you're good to
shot.
go. Well done,
like,
Spusiso.
well, I haven't been like in the, in one of the big boys in DJing, like recently over the past few years. I've been more of a businessman. But the boys were like, Sharp, definitely Sbu can come. They could have easily said, no, not Sbu, man. He hasn't released music in a while, or maybe he's not. Why don't, you know what I mean? Why not to Sbanbani? But the guys were like,
shout out to the twins as well, because sometimes some kids also struggle when they've eclipsed the master.
Yeah.
To then be like, hey, Grootman, still, you're like, but you guys are huge. It's like, no, but please, I appreciate that the twins could also do that and not be like what I'm saying about Amakrotman that closed doors.
Yeah.
So I'm actually asking you with the hope that Amanya Amakrotman can listen to why you are different about this thing of putting kids on that might one day be bigger than you.
But it's anyway, I just wanted to mention that on camera that yes, they are putting me on.
Beautiful.
So for somebody who doesn't know, I could easily keep quiet and not mention actually that gig. It's them who approved he can come, he can be booked, And I just wanted to say thank you for that. So you're correct, they are putting me on. Because you never know, also this gig that they're putting me on for, you never know who's going to be there in the audience, who's going to hear my set, who's going to say, geez, I like this guy.
Yeah.
Let's go do a European tour.
Yeah. Or
hey, why don't let's have a meeting at a coffee shop tomorrow here in New York and let's talk about, you never know.
Yeah.
So when somebody puts you on, they're just giving you a leg up, and it's just up to you to then take the opportunity and run with it.
Yeah.
But I also kind of feel it's our responsibility. I've heard you so many times speak good of other guys that follow your work, some guys that even DM you. Sometimes I've even said to you, Penuel, don't answer all the DMs, bro. Like, do you know how frustrating it is?
It's very frustrating.
It's not easy because sometimes people expect you to reply to their messages, but you can't reply to everybody, bro.
You'll get nothing done, unfortunately. It's a time thing. We just won't be able to do any other work.
Casper, when he came into the game at some point, he said, yeah, Sbu, I sent you some DMs back in the day. You ignored me. You never answered me. Fast forward a few years later, I think he came for an interview or something at Massive Metro. He was like, now I understand why you never answered my DM. You know, because I told him it was never intentional. I didn't even know. I didn't even see it.
Yeah.
You know, but then years later, as now he was a star, then he was like, now I understand.
Yeah.
You know, because like seeing Amabomu that we don't answer all messages. They tend to become so many sometimes. But Nambi, I'm like you. I try to answer as much as I can. But sometimes, you know, it's impossible to answer to everything. But anyway, I just wanted to give you props for doing that, for recognizing other younger guys. The other time, the other youngsters did an amazing artwork of yourself. They came in yesterday to deliver my artwork. That was so beautiful that you gave them a shout out even on the podcast. They said I must tell
TK
you.
Jr. and Cool
Fellow.
Fellow.
Yeah, they said I must tell you thank you.
Sure.
Because you gave them a shout out on the podcast, I think a few weeks ago.
I wanted to disturb you quickly.
Yeah.
The reason we are happy to shout out kids like that is because they are talented, they put in the work, and they are hungry, and they hustle, and they hunt you down.
Yeah.
That's one of the differences people don't understand. You have to catch the person's attention, and it's not through spamming their inbox. It's through doing amazing work so that, like a Casper Nyovest can say, I used to DM you, but I've done so much that you now see me. Sure.
Totally true, bro. And that's why I would pick up guys like Abo, Veps.
Veps.
That's why I would wear local brands, you know, all
They
the
put
time.
in the work.
They put
and
in
they
the
get
work.
their attention.
And their work speaks for itself,
Boom.
you know. But I know we've been speaking for quite some time, but I also wanted to get into this topic of you went live and you're not...
Spusi, so you haven't answered my question.
Oh, sorry.
I'm asking about Mkhukhu that closed the doors on up-and-coming kids and why you are so comfortable with that. I know you said it's our responsibility, but they still won't. We see it in politics. I know it happens in business. I know it happens in the tender game. Definitely in the entertainment industry. There was this open the industry or something like that that was trending on Twitter.
Yeah.
Why are you different and what are Mkhukhu missing in... There's nothing wrong with letting the Major League Twins come onto your platform, become big. They might outshine you, and that's fine. But why is it fine? And what should they not be scared of? And why should they do it?
I don't think I'm the only one. I think there's a lot of us.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even look at it that way. You know, it's just in me. This is just how I am.
Yeah.
And when I say there's a lot of us, I mean, look at how many people Mapodisa has put on just in the past 5 years. You imagine Oskido, how many people has put on. You know, I mean, you look at even... you know, look at business people that are putting other people on. Look at other celebrities that are putting on. Even musicians are actually I think musicians in my life are the ones that I know I know a lot of musicians who put on a lot of other people. Apart from Kabza being put on by Mapodisa, Kabza, imagine how many people he's put on now. Just recently, just in the past few years, literally youngsters that has changed his life.
I think WHP put on Casper.
Do you know what I mean?
Jeez.
And then imagine how many other people Casper put on.
Yeah.
You know, so I kind of feel I'm not the only, there's a lot of us.
I hear
and
you.
it's a great thing to do. That's what we must do. You know, and we mustn't feel bad even when the youngsters a couple of years down the line are outshining you. Or they're not even saying thank you to you.
Yeah.
Or maybe they don't even recognize you anymore. Maybe they don't even take your calls anymore.
Yeah.
It's fine because that's not the reason what you were doing it for. You're not doing it such that you may get a thank you or such that in future they may look after your daughter or they can give you money or they can shout and scream your name in bigger platforms. You were literally doing it because it's God's work. It's what your heart made you feel like this is what I have to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I feel. But I cannot control how other people make decisions on who to put on or whether they put on other people or they don't. Or even if they do, maybe they're expecting a thank you. They get angry when the youngsters outshine them later. It shouldn't be like that. It just means that you are even greater because you recognize an amazing talent that ended up even outshining you. It means you were one of the first people to recognize that amazing, great talent. And I also look at it like this. When a talent is that great and that amazing, it's only a matter of time, with or without you, they are going to shine.
Yeah.
So just play your role because you are there at that particular time to sort of, give them a leg up.
I love you very much for that. Two more things before you carry on.
Yeah.
The first one is putting people on. I think we may have mentioned this before. Dr. Dre gave birth to Eminem.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dr. Dre came from Abo Suge Knight, etc. And he was producing for Tupac, Nabo Snoop. Gave birth to Eminem. Eminem gave birth to 50 Cent. 50 Cent gave birth to The Game. And that's the power of putting people on. I wanted to speak about Akon. Akon coming out of prison, creating Convict with his brother. And they went and they found a T-Pain. They went and they found a Lady Gaga who became 100 times bigger than an Akon, for
Usher
example.
and Justin Bieber also.
You know what I mean? So the putting on thing is very important, and you're very right. Some of these people are so talented, it will happen with or without you. The beautiful thing is, if it happens with you, you become part of a beautiful story. Who knows, one day they might put you on as well, and you're going to New York.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And you remove negative energy, because if you close that door and they become big, like, how do you feel?
Yeah.
And if that story ever comes out that this person was actually meant to approve and they said no, how does that make you look if that story ever comes out? Like, it's not worth it. And in the bigger world, I was speaking to a gentleman yesterday, and he was saying he doesn't believe in scarcity, he believes in abundance. He's like, there's so much in the world, so I'm never scared to empower people, because there's so much more. And you don't know what these people will do for you. You're not doing it for that, but you don't know what they'll do for the world. Maybe not even for you. They might cure cancer. And one day your cousin somewhere is using that cure because you helped this person. So he believes in an abundance mindset. The other thing I wanted to say, because you gave a shout out to Steve Ovo, who always used to book the Major League Twins on events. It's very cool when you see people that are like, I don't know if you'd call them sidekicks, but that are always working alongside someone. And there's something beautiful in some of those partnerships. Busta Rhymes and Spliff Star, maybe for people that know. But if you look in the film industry, you've got Martin Scorsese, amazing director that almost always works with Leonardo DiCaprio. You know, you've got the Scott brothers who have worked with Denzel and Russell Crowe. You've got Quentin Tarantino, who normally books the same people. You've got now an amazing young black director who got the first huge budget in Hollywood, Ryan Coogler.
Yeah.
$300 million to film Black Panther, you know. And he cast Chadwick Boseman as the Black Panther. But the guy he's been making movies with, when he was doing short films, was Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
And he made sure that when he did the Black Panther, my boy can't be left behind. So Michael B. Jordan became Killmonger, and they went on to make over $1 billion, which was unheard of. So there's something beautiful in partnerships and in some of the people that you start the journey with now. Those are the people that keep you grounded and keep you humble. I met with Kumba, the comedian, and he was saying there's always Amachitake that he travels with. Kevin Hart has said the same. Travel with the people that have always been there, that know your worst, your best, that want you to win. Those are the people. And if you ever get a chance, we spoke about Jay-Z and Memphis Bleak, that even if I die, he's a millionaire. You know, so it's important and it's inspiring and it's beautiful to have people like that. If you are the sidekick well, you don't know when your time will come to shine.
Yeah.
If you are the main guy, don't let go of your guys and think you're better than them, because you don't know. You don't know the value they add in your life and make you great and keep you humble. You don't know what they'll ever become one day. And one day you'll be the one. They're like, no, this is my boy. It doesn't matter if we're not making money in this event. It doesn't matter if I have to pay them out of pocket. This is my boy. No matter what happens, I go with him wherever he is. So shout out to that story, and thank you very much.
I actually wanted us to touch on more issues, but I think we're out of time. This will keep you guys wanting to watch the next episode. I think let's shut it down here.
No problem. Wishing you luck with New York, with Detroit. Please send our love and our greetings from the Hustlers, from the Squatters, to the Major League Twins. We see them. We're proud of them. Shout out to Ikhrod Black Coffee for all the people he's put on. Some of the work, DJ Fresh and the people he's put on, the partnership he's had with Euphonic as well. If you are somebody who's in a position doesn't have to be a huge position, can be at any given time. You need to have at least one mentor, so a principal or someone else who's an old teacher who's been around the block to teach you how to make good moves. And at any given time you must have at least one protege. That's a young person, can be a male, female, white, black, it doesn't matter, that you identify, this person reminds me of me, and I just want to try and guide them somewhere along the line. I want to open certain doors for them because they can become bigger than me. Doesn't have to be your child. If it's your child, that's a bonus. It can be someone else. Patrice Mutsipe, we spoke about him, what he's done with his son, you know, with the Sundowns is a beautiful story. We look forward to seeing, we haven't had a lot of those black families besides the royal families who have been able to show a legacy that goes on forever. So from a business perspective, the Mutsipe family, they're under pressure. We're watching them. We're excited about what they're going to do for us in future. And the other families they're going to give birth to, they've partnered with the Ramaphosa family. They've partnered with the Khatebe family. Shout out to Teben Koko as well, the daughter of Jeff Khatebe. Like, they are beautiful stories. We may have issues here and there, politics, but there are also beautiful stories to extract there and that we can learn from. And it's up to us Have one mentor, at least one. Have more if you can. Have one protege. It doesn't matter if you Penuel the Black Pen and Usbuda is your mentor. Who are the proteges you're working with? If you are MacGyver on Podcast and Chill, who are your mentors? Let's say David Mashabela. Who are the proteges that you're bringing on? Maybe a Saul or someone else would look at some point. You guys have to kick us out of this space. You guys must be the hot kids of the day.
Yeah.
And again, it's one of the things I admire about Jewish people. They do have that skill of identify young talent. And very early they invest. And they invest money and they come and they buy a stake. And they're like, it's a minority stake, it's your thing. But it's so that if you need money, if you need mentorship, if you need to open a door somewhere that I can open, or I can tell someone, that's my boy, open for him, let them in. We'll do it for you. Because these kids are talented and they'll take themselves to a higher level. They'll take us as a Mkhukhu to a higher level, and it will just do better for the universe to help them move up.
Thank you very much, bro.
The virtual Mkhukhu.
What a beautiful way to close it.
Thank
Shout
you.
outs all of you guys. Let's put each other on. Whatever industry that you're in, wherever you work, might not be money, might not even be a job position, but just pull that kid that you can see with there's potential in this kid. Whether they're 14, they're 18, they're 24, they're 27, just to be around you, to learn from you. And when you are a mentee, you're learning from somebody. My advice to all the young guys that are mentees, that are looking for mentors, that currently have mentors, never ask your mentor for money. I repeat, don't ask them for money, but just show your value, show what you can do. And if you can, sometimes when they offer you money, just say no. It's not a good thing to say no to money, but just show them what you are there to add value, as opposed to you being there for the money side of things. Money will come, and when it does come later, it's going to be a lot of it. So in the beginning, just prove yourself, just do the work, just learn from them, and remember, it's not your mentor that's going to do the work. You are going to do the work.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even have to be anybody famous to be your mentor. It can just be that man that is not even famous. So lawyer, black label too. But every time when he opens his mouth, he's just an intelligent mind. That can be your mentor. It can be umkhulu wakho ongakaza esikolweni. But because of the years that he's lived, the amount of wisdom that he has, umevula umlomo, ukufundisa into ukuthi ngeke just uyifunde na inoma ikuphi. Maybe that person becomes your mentor. Because I've heard a lot of young people sometimes tend to think a mentor has to be somebody famous.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It's misleading. I want to add on to what you're saying about not accepting money. Hey guys, accept money. I'm kidding. Accept money that you've earned. I wanted to say, once you found a mentor who happens to make money, learn how to pay yourself.
Yeah.
So what that means is, if your mentor is Usbuda and he's got MOFAYA, don't ask for money. You'll pay yourself by taking his stock and going to sell it.
Thank you.
And you pay yourself.
Thank you. That's also adding value.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's definitely adding value. Learn how to create value for your mentors so that they keep you around, and then learn how to extract value. Sometimes it's not money. Sometimes the money won't come from the mentor. It will come from one of his business associates.
Yeah.
So Usbu mentors me. I add value by doing his accounting, his books, and then by doing his books for free. I'm not even asking him to pay me. He starts speaking about me somewhere. And then those other people start paying me for that work. So learn how to pay yourself and extract value, but don't just take free money, and don't just expect and demand money. It actually puts a lot of mentors off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love you very much, bro. Have a great week, yeah?
Enjoy your trip. Looking forward to what you have in store for us when you come back.
I'll see you soon.
Easy.
Yeah.